Welcome into the SWATify podcast. I'm Travis Creasy with my co-partner in crime, Ben Hayes. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
We are excited today to be with probably the most requested of our interviews, the SWAT team, Skits with the Truth. We got Lonnie Jones.
Hey, guys.
We got Rick Schatz.
Hey.
Derek Horst.
Hello.
And Michael Rosenblum.
Good afternoon.
Is there one skit that, and I know that's hard and that's difficult, and a lot of times we'll use a skit, kind of the theme or the same running deal, and just add and change, and you can use one of those, or you can use a standalone. Is there a skit or two, and I know Michael's already mentioned one, that maybe is a favorite, or maybe it's you like it because it's so easy to kind of change and bring more stuff into? Start with Ben.
That's hard for me. I can't even remember the skits
I'll
we're
say
doing.
one
much
that
less.
I was not even a part of, and this is from just being in the stands and in the crowd at CYC. It's the one where you're blowing up trying to create houses, and I can't remember the name.
Bob the
Big Bang Builder, and I can remember sitting out there and the closing line on that. I remember sitting in the crowd going, "Oh, that's good stuff," about the Big Bang Theory and all that stuff. And I remember sitting there, and I was a youth minister and been one for years, and thought, "Wow, that's good stuff." But that would have to be one of my favorites. And then I guess the one actual performance I don't even know how long it was ago, where we had the cross up there, and somehow, some way, that thing fell off
just the right moment.
Off what we had, a little chair or something. At the right moment, it falls and bangs throughout the whole arena, or whatever you call that. And I had people coming out going, "How did you do that?" And I said, "I didn't." That was not on purpose. But that was probably my favorite one, and it really had nothing to do with me or anything. It was just kind of that it all lined up perfectly. I don't guess we have to go in order. If anybody's got one, you just jump in.
I like the Elevator to Heaven skit. There's some others that I probably hit home a little bit more and that sort of thing. But the Elevator to Heaven is one I think I like, because you get in an elevator, it's like the other one. It just sticks with you. So every time I step in an elevator, it's like Elevator to Heaven. And you get at the youth rallies or at CYC or whatever.
2 months later at Lasda Leaders in the Opryland Hotel.
Yes,
Elevator to Heaven.
Yeah, people just randomly step in, and it's great. It's just it connects with people, and I just think it's fun.
And the original Elevator,
you can do 1,000 ways.
We could probably pull out the original. People hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
We've done 7 or 8 different versions of it. We write a new. It's our trademark opener.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It brings us.
Yeah, I love that one.
Got another one, Michael, or
Have
I given you enough time to think?
I got the aroma. Okay, so I did the cussing skit. I think the other one that we had that really sticks with me is, and maybe that same youth rally at Albertville there, that the aroma of Christ was the theme, and you had Lonnie as this weirdo in this shop, and people were trying to come in and get this fragrance, and we had this. What was the device you had?
It was an insect sprayer.
An insect sprayer. So when he pumped it, there's this mist, flowed out of this object there, and people would smell it. And some people, "Oh, it's horrible. It smells terrible." And like, "Oh." And they walk out of that shop, and then next few skits later, somebody would walk in wanting this fragrance and smell it. I don't know. It's not really exactly what I'm looking for. And I guess the last one, that just smells sweet. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And that skit's always stuck with me, because that's the gospel. That you have, it's a challenge that you sit here and have this powerful word of God, and that some people want nothing to do with it. That they hear the words and they hear about the love of Jesus and what God has done for us by sending His Son, and it smells horrible. It smells like death, and because they're having to sacrifice stuff that they think they're losing to be a part of Christianity. But some people just eat it up. That's exactly what I need. This is a sweet smelling aroma, and to me that's life. That's the gospel. That's our challenge every single day, and that skit has always stuck with me about that aroma of Christ. That some people smell it, they smell sweet life. Some people smell it, it smells like death.
And the hard part of what we do as an art is taking that concept and putting it in a tag. So the end of that skit is, well, some people smell the sacrifices they have to make. Mm-hmm. Other people smell the sacrifice that was made for them. Mm-hmm. And that's everything Michael said in 2 sentences. Mm-hmm. And that's the hard part of writing these things.
Sometimes the hard part of delivering these things. Some of us struggle more than others.
Derek?
We've all had our moments where somebody had to
Oh,
yell,
yeah.
Lights!
Lights.
The light goes out, we
Yep.
start it over.
Yep.
Gibbity Judy.
What you got, Derek?
Probably my favorite ones. I don't know that I ever did the Aroma of Christ, that
haven't done
particular
that one
skit, but it sounds like it is a version of the Cross Shop.
Almost
It's
said
that
that
same
one.
weirdo in that shop.
Same old guy in the Cross Shop, dusting that chair.
Was he singing "I Feel
Singing a song.
Good"? Was he?
Feel good.
That's awesome.
But in the Cross Shop, that series, it's a
Yeah.
three skit set. Folks are looking for the cross, the Christian cross, and the first couple ones they're not interested because it just costs too much. It is. It's going to take too much time, or it's going to take. Oh, it's going to cost me my friends. It's just too costly. And then the third entry in the Cross Shop, the person who enters the shop, talking to the shop owner, is interested in the shop, interested in the cross, and it doesn't matter how much it costs. Well, it's going to take all your time. It's going to take all your money. It's going to take your relationships. It's going to take your house, your cars. It's going to cost you everything. But this is the cross that I want. This is what I'm looking for. But then all of those things come back to him. Well, if you're going to carry the cross, you're going to need a mate to help you. Well, you're going to have a car to get you around. You're going to have a job to make money and support your family. You're going to have a house to take care of your family, to invite people in. You're going to get all this stuff back. Okay, but the end of the closing line is, okay, you've got all this stuff to use, but who does all this stuff belong to? Well, it belongs to you, of course. That's right. But as long as you carry the cross, it is yours to use. I think that one is probably my favorite series, those three skits.
It's a good one.
Ben's mentioned the Elevator to Heaven. I kind of have my favorite is a collection, the elevator skits. That's the start. We usually start with the elevator. And the skits that we end with, our closing skit is typically a little heavier. Mm-hmm. And, we have a lot of humor throughout, but the closing skit kind of drives the point home. And it's really something that leaves you performing it. Sometimes you're like, whoa,
you get chills.
Yeah. So there's not maybe one in particular, but it's those two that we do every year. Every time we perform, every season we get together, the elevator starts us out, and we have a heavy hitter that closes us out. And it just, the message that come out of those are the same, usually related, but one's kind of humorous and one's very, very
and I think
serious.
that those become real to us. There's one that we ended with, and then, Lonnie's out there, and he puts his daughter's name in it, man. And it obliterates me every time. That when you know that you're doing it and you can get in it and you can make that emotional that connection, and you're doing it and you get in that zone where it impacts you. And with you guys talking, I think about where's he come in? He trades it in. He's trading in his burden. Big Bob's.
Big Bob.
Yeah, I don't know what it does about Big Bob, but he gets me. And I can remember being
Mexican.
I actually remember thinking about that sitting in the hospital room and going, it's a burden, but I wouldn't want to put it on anybody else, But thinking about that and those things where you make that connection, and I'm not one, know me, I'm not very serious. But when you can get me to the point where I'm serious and then I'm about to cry in the skit, that's impressive to me anyways. But to speak to what you're saying, man,
Michael kind of touched on this earlier about the impact, and he was talking about being a part of a team. And doing SWAT impacts me personally
Mm-hmm.
because I get influenced by
a
these
challenge.
guys that are around me.
Yeah, I'm challenged by you guys.
Yeah, exactly. So that impacts you. You tend to take that thing away, and you're trying to live a better life, and it's encouraging. Doing SWAT is encouraging to be able to have that, to realize that impact in your life.
Well, the skits are a byproduct of a philosophical discussion and a deep understanding of a concept. If you understand it, you can illustrate it. If you can't illustrate it, you don't understand it. So by the time you get a group of kids and you say, let's make this presentable in 2 minutes or less, you've thrown away all the fluff. It's parsimonious and it's powerful. And so sitting in a room with you guys and with Lisa and saying, how do we approach this, and getting a perspective that's more conservative than mine, or more liberal than mine, or, hey, that's too preachy, that's too in your face, that's too leave it to beaver cheesy. Once we've thrown out all the fluff, it ends up with, I understand this concept. Now, whether it's a concept I'm struggling with, or whether it's just a concept, it's either information or confirmation every time we get a hold of the thing and go, let's hammer this out and make it work. And if we write 45 skits, we'll use 20 in any one season.
Yeah, and we're 6 hours from performing, and we're still cutting out the fluff sometimes.
Yeah. To do the elevator, just because of the different myriad of ways we've created that scene, and even now the legend of the 144,000 on the sticker. And
I love the running, the
and no sign that says
the Easter eggs.
Yeah, and in case of fire, uses steps. So that's probably the most fun to perform.
And the funny thing is like you said, we drop these lines all the time. All weekend long, we've been dropping lines from older shows, and I can't remember the name of the skits, but man, that's not how this works. It's not how any of this works,
But I guess I'm like Derek, the cross shop is one of my favorites. And I don't know that we've ever done it very many times where he hasn't been the last guy to come to the cross shop. Yeah. And this, 6'8" monster of a dude, humbly gives his time and his money and his energy and his relationship just so he can get that cross. And Derek's sincere, not much of an actor. You get what you get when he's on stage, and that's him. And then he gives it all up, and then when he gets it all back to use it, he leaves that cross shop on fire. And I've known him since he was 16 or 17, and I've watched him grow into that, not the spiritual man he is, and that skit, doing it with him, is super
awesome.
personal.
Cool.
And I've been thinking about this one for a little bit too, is that there's a few tears in the room right now, and that's a cool thing too, but tells you how much this touches all of us when we do this. But I was thinking about the opposite of that, and Derek's in this one too. A lot of times the robber skit,
yes.
and it's funny, but it's the opposite of it. It ends with these guys making excuses. Well, I can't do that. We can't do that. Let's see. I do miss this, and then at the end, the robber just says, well, shut up. I'm not going to kill you. You're already dead. And it's funny, but then it just drops that hammer on you at the end of like, ooh, there's more I'm supposed to be doing than that. So
Rick and Lori were dating. And then when Rick was baptized, he traveled with our drama. You may have done some before you were baptized, but we were kind of careful with that. I've got a letter from you from 1991. And it's in my box of, I've got the list of every skit we've ever done, where we did it, and the order we did them in. I got this letter from Rick. They've been youth sponsors. They traveled with us. They kind of backed away to do some other stuff. They started their family. And Rick, in this letter, was, hey, I realized I don't fit the qualification to be a deacon. And I'm going to fix this in my life. He's sitting over here today on this windowsill as an elder. And I've got a letter from 1991 where he confronts that in his own life from being involved with us, which is pretty cool.
Super cool.
The Christian Light and Judgment skit is just, I guess, if I could do it every show without feeling like it ran its course, I'd do it. But the reason we do it is because we used to practice in this little fellowship hall. We'd turn on an overhead projector, and we'd have 2 cardboard boxes and close them and open to turn our light on and off just to practice, because we didn't have any real serious light stuff. And we're doing the Christian Light and Judgment scene. One of our youth sponsors, we've always let our adults perform. And once we got involved in CYC, rather than travel with 30 kids and careful about who you assign what, I handpicked some guys that I trust, I love, easy to work with. But, we had adults, we had kids, and so we're doing Christian Light and Judgment. And one of our youth sponsors, a lady with a relatively small child, is standing in the judgment scene, and she's doing the, oh God, I didn't know this, it's not fair. And while she's practicing, Derek walks out of the dark like an angel and takes that baby. And he just, in that voice of his, says, y'all not going to go the same place. And he walks off into the dark and leaves her on stage without her baby. And we were done for that night. But the power of that, when I had my daughter, I said, that will not happen to me. And so when I run Lonnie Beth in that skit, on the other end of it, I go back to that place where you got to confront the fact that if you don't do this thing right, you and your kids aren't going to be together. And so probably never been on stage. If we stuck that kind of a scene on stage, oh man, we had people jumping out windows.
Just want to take a moment as we get ready to ask the final question to our guests to encourage you, if you are in the market or looking to create your own podcast, to look at Anchor. That's what we use. As you listen, you may be thinking, if these two guys can do it, then anybody can, and that's absolutely true with Anchor. The best part is it's free. There's plenty of creation tools that allow you to record, edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also contact and have your guests on from different locations or right there in the room with you. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It can be on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. As we like to wrap up each episode, we like to kind of bring things down a little bit to get to know folks personally as we interview them. So we'll talk about several different questions very quickly, kind of fire through them. What song comes on the radio and you just have to crank it louder and get your microphone out, whether it's an air microphone or not, maybe even air guitar, and let loose? Just jump in.
Go for it, Rick. You look like you want to talk.
Well, I had one picked out, but then I got to start thinking another one. But so I'm a child of the '80s. I love anything '80s. You know that if you've ever hang around with me. So anything I love comes out of the '80s mostly. So one group that is very popular, 1981. Anything by Journey. I love Journey. And if you want to see me play the air drums or the air guitar, which I rarely do, even take the lead. I'll even sing lead on that.
There you go.
Journey and Don't Stop Believing would be the song that I would choose to do that. It's just such a great song.
For me, if I'm surfing through the stations while I'm riding down the road and can't find anything good, the song that I put in is AC/DC Thunderstruck.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Man, I love that one.
That's hard not to run through a wall,
And if I'm driving, I've got to set the cruise control because I'll be going 100.
I remember
before it's over with.
I remember Ben's older brother driving me in his car without his hands on the wheel because he was playing air drums through a couple of AC/DC songs. So now I'm officially going to picture you singing that with a full-blown mullet like his brother had playing. And so there you go.
Solid gold.
All right. Solid gold. Anybody else?
Seven Spanish ain't There's an old movie, and you have to watch it, made for TV, not on cable, not the original format, called Vision Quest. And it's about a wrestler who's going to lose down to wrestle he's top of the notch.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an unquestioned champion, but he doesn't feel like he's a champion unless he beats this other guy. And so he loses the weight, and he's doing this terrible weight cut. And his Indian friend, Native American friend says, dude, you're on a vision quest. And they play the song Lunatic Fringe by Red Rider. And it has almost like a sunrise prelude to open it up. And when I've been hurt and I've been injured and I've been trying to get back in shape or run or do something crazy, I put that in my earphones and take off, and I run to Lunatic Fringe, and it's my jam.
It sounds like an alternate name for the SWAT team.
Yes.
So it's both SWAT teams. It probably worked both. Lunatic
Both,
Fringe.
yeah, sure.
Well, that's awesome.
I
I'll
will
check
add,
that out.
Journey has a song on that soundtrack.
Okay,
as
there you go.
well.
Check it out. We'll check it out. Michael?
I don't really think I have one that comes to mind.
What's the elevator song, the one you sing on?
You play it now. I go through just different stuff all the time. My wife, she'll tell you, hey, what song are we playing this week? Like I have one song I play the whole week. That's all I listen to. So I go through different stuff depending on the moods. Out the AC/DC, that's actually number one on my old iPod I used to run with. That's the song I started running with, and it's I think on my number one slot on my new playlist now. So just if I'm going for a workout or a run, that Thunderstruck, that's the one that's in the number one slot to get you jacked up. I think my deal with music, no, it's not a song, but I've always been a sucker for somebody that can sing and that can either sit there and sing and play a piano or can sit and play a guitar. Not like a whole band, just either a piano or either a guitar, and I'll sit there and listen to them for hours. Just that's my thing.
Good deal.
I'm kind of like that. I don't have just one. I have a bunch, and I mean, you guys know I don't know many lyrics to songs, and so every now and then I drop those on everybody. Nobody picked that up, but so
Every once in a while, like every 2 seconds.
every 2 seconds. I like a lot of different kinds of music. I love 50s and 60s music. Aerosmith's one of my favorite bands. AC/DC, and then of course like Toby Mac, and got a lot more modern stuff. I mean, my playlist goes from all those to Bob Seger to whatever when I'm running. So I mean, I've got just a lot of different stuff. So I don't really have just one, but I probably was Jesus Freak by Toby Mac is the one my kids are like, oh, we're listening to that one again, aren't we? So they get kind of tired of it. But.
Rick, Lonnie, Derek, Michael, Ben, Lisa. We sure do appreciate it, and we will talk to you again soon.